Yes, that's right. The Survivor Know-It-Alls are back. One week till the finale. Stephen Fishbach.
1 week. Gosh, Rob, I'm fired up at this episode. It was good. It was another really great, strong episode. So much rich content, and all season long, I got to be honest with you, I was dreading the Sunday boot. I thought this is going to be a boring episode. She hasn't given us that much. She's not going to give us that much in her boot episode. You know, they managed to get it in the double boot episode, and there was a lot here, a lot of terrible, terrible gameplay that we can discuss.
Oh, good. Okay, I thought I was maybe on an island of what is going on here. Good, so I'm glad we can get into this.
No, the best episodes are great gameplay and bad gameplay, and we got a big bad gameplay episode.
Good, because I'm dying to know who you thought was doing bad. And yeah, I was blindsided by the Sunday thing. I fell into the old trap, Stephen. Survivor editors got me this time of, well, okay, I know it's not going to be Sunday because she hasn't said a word in this episode. And a couple times, Michelle, too, in her boot episode, that I fell into the same trap. And maybe there's some emergent editing strategies.
I actually do think there are emergent editing strategies. And I wonder if, you know, not to blow too much smoke up our own butts, but like, I wonder if,
if we didn't, who would, right?
So they're like, it's spite editing to like stop us.
Yes. Good. But no, this is good. We're on our toes.
Did Sunday not speak at all? Really?
She spoke at Tribal Council, but I'm not sure if she had a confessional tonight.
It's the Keith Tollefson, friend of the podcast, Keith Tollefson, the edit.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy. Well, what an episode. What a terrible decision.
Yeah, okay. So we'll talk through all that here tonight. Hashtag RHAP. A lot of stuff coming up on Thursday. Busy day. We'll have not one, but two exit interviews. Will and Sunday exit interviews. I will be, Stephen, going to go visit Jonathan Penner in person. I'm taking the podcast to Penner on Thursday.
That's amazing.
How about that?
Are you bragging?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean,
I could visit Jonathan Penn. Well, I probably couldn't. I don't have his email address or anything.
Yeah, well, I could introduce you. That we could, I'll set it up. And then I am going to Penner for the first, not since I went to go to Shane Powers' like girlfriend's house. During Blood versus Water, have I done this for somebody? And so that's what I'll be doing on Thursday. And then get your voicemails in, Jordan Parhar, later on in the day on Thursday, Stephen. But a lot to talk about here tonight. So who are you saying did a bad job here with the Sunday boot?
I mean, we got to be on the same page here, right? Terrible decision making from Hannah. Just terrible, right? I mean, Hannah, I'm flat. I feel like this is the conversation between Adam and Hannah, where Adam says to Hannah, we've got to take out one of these huge threats. We're nearing the finals, final 7. We're almost at the end. There's only 4 votes left. And we got to, get Jay to flush his idol and then take out David. All episode long, everyone is talking, oh, David is the head of the snake. Nobody can beat David. Everyone's like, we got to get out David. And then, Adam's got this pretty solid plan. Flush Jay's idol, take out David, really hobble the 2 biggest threats in the game. Hannah says, no, let's go for the biggest goat in the game, Sunday. Now, there is some validity to the strategy of taking out a goat, but not for someone like Hannah, where like Hannah needs to be eliminating power players and keeping the people that she can beat in the game. It makes sense for a Jay or a David to target Sunday because from everything we've seen, Sunday is a goat. She's gonna clog up one of those seats at the final tribal. And someone, if you're a big power player, you want as many of those seats as free so you can kind of slide into one. But for someone like Hannah, like, what is she doing eliminating a goat?
Stephen, I didn't really have a major issue with it because I kind of thought that where Hannah's coming from is, hey, I don't want somebody dragging Sunday to the end to be the goat. That's my spot. Yeah. I'm going to be the goat.
Maybe I'm giving Hannah too much credit, suggesting that like I think she should be playing to win. You're saying she doesn't want the goat seat like taken. She wants the goat seat.
Right. She doesn't want to be left on the sideline while Sunday goes to the end and gets no votes. Hannah wants that spot all to herself.
Yeah. Well, okay. I mean, like if Hannah's goal is to like slide into the end and lose, then like maybe she did the right thing by eliminating her competition for like goat. But I want these players to play to win.
Yes.
And playing to win means taking out the biggest threat in the game. And, it just is nonsensical. So do you thought Hannah made a good decision?
I want to talk about this more from Adam's perspective, because I'm not really understanding where Adam is coming from voting with the voting block of David and Ken and Hannah, because it seems to me like he's number 4 there. And tell me if you read that differently. But I liked in the beginning of this episode and even into last week where, Brett and Sunday have just been these 2 pawns that have been attached at the hip that different people just keep picking up, whether it was Chris and then Zeke had them, David tried to get them, now Adam had them. And I was like, great. Oh, he's got Brett and Sunday in his pocket. And then I felt like that, it seemed like, especially after he had that conversation with Jay, that's 4. I know Jay has an idol. He's so scary as a threat, and he has all these jury people that want to vote for him. But it just seems like that. Isn't that a straighter path?
Wait, you're saying what? To vote out David?
I think, yeah. To get out.
So with Jay, with Brett and Sunday and himself, he's got the numbers to vote out David.
Yes.
Yeah, I think he should have done that. But on the other hand, then he's really alienating everyone who he's close to, right? I mean, I think you're right, actually. That should have been Adam's move. Would have been, I was reading through the narrative of Adam had the right plan and kind of got mind effed by Hannah's insistence on taking out Sunday. But you're right, there was an alternate where we did.
And it's not perfect. It's not perfect because then if you take out David, and then he's probably got to get back with Hannah and Ken. And then he did have a conversation with them in this episode about voting together against David. And from what we saw, Ken didn't run back to David and be like, apparently Adam's trying to vote you out this week. He was thinking about it. It didn't seem like it was the end of a discussion for him. The thing is, it kind of sets up another potential rock draw. Jay still has his idol. So there's no great scenario, but I just feel like that Adams, he looks like number 4 to me in that side.
I guess that is the issue, right? He felt like he really needed to make Jay feel threatened, right? And that seems to be his even more important to him than eliminating David is making sure Jay plays his idol. And the only way he can do that is by really making it clear to Jay, hey, I'm targeting you tonight. He doesn't actually have to vote for Jay, which I think he does. Someone votes for Jay, right? Jay doesn't actually need a vote. But he does need Jay to feel like he's threatened, because otherwise Jay's, basically one tribal council away from winning the whole thing. He can't then go to Jay and be like, hey, our plan is really to vote out David. He's got to make it seem to Jay like Jay's really under fire. And who did Jay vote for?
Jay voted for David. Actually, it was Sunday who voted for Jay, which was when I first watched the votes, I said, okay, one vote for Jay. And I didn't know, I couldn't figure out what was going on there. And then there were 2 votes for David. And I figured, okay, so it's probably Brett and Sunday voted together against David. But Sunday casts 1 vote for Jay in that spot. And I don't know if they told her or what, but that seems like a really curious vote to make.
Maybe they thought they had, I guess you'll ask Sunday tomorrow, but maybe they thought they had, Hannah and Adam with them. And so they just wanted to put some vote pressure on Jay, but the rest of them were going to go towards David. Or maybe they had a split vote scenario thing happening where they were doing, David had his whole 3-1 vote for Brett. Maybe Sunday and Brett thought that they had a 3-1 vote happening too, where they were going to split the votes on Jay and David. Yeah, curious to see what happens tomorrow. And of course, this is the hard part of podcasting immediately afterwards. But misplay from Adam. I don't know. I think it's a bigger misplay from Hannah, because I do think Adam needs to keep that pressure on Jay because David and Jay are both huge threats, but David is not the big immunity threat. So Adam will have further opportunities to vote out David. He might not have another chance to vote out Jay if Jay keeps that idol.
So let's just talk this through in terms of where we go from here. So day 36, I believe, is what we're going to have next. I believe that we're going to get to Ken's legacy advantage. I don't know exactly what that's going to mean, but who's getting voted out next? Do you presume Jay if he doesn't win an immunity challenge?
Yeah, I think Jay is a likely next boot. If he doesn't win, he's gone. which I feel like is like the likeliest scenario when we get down to these last challenges, right? The second to last challenge is like that you typically like the J challenge, right? The crazy big obstacle course. But I think this will be like the third to last challenge where it's really, it could be shuffleboard and it's an easy one for Jay to lose. And they're not going to miss that chance to vote him out.
And do you have any sort of Monday morning quarterback on Jay for using his idol? Because I don't think I can get mad at him.
No, I was amazed when Jay held his idol at that other tribal council where they tried to flush it from him. Like that was, I thought that was spectacular. Here he plays it. I think it's the right decision, right? Better to go out playing it too soon than go out with it in your pocket.
I mean, it was a miracle that he still had it at this point. And really, what a crazy turn the idols have taken in the post-merge game.
They were going everywhere. They were going every which way in the beginning, and now everyone's kind of hunkered down on him.
Now, this is now 3 times in a row an idol was used on somebody who would not have gone home had the idol not been played. I know Adam used the idol on Hannah, but as was pointed out a couple times in the episode tonight, that Hannah would not have been voted out if there was no idol played. And then also first time this season an idol gets played on the person who took out the idol.
Yeah.
Of the 4 idols played this season.
Is that the first time this season that it's been used for the possessor?
David played it on Jessica, then David played it on Ken, Adam played it on Hannah, and then Jay played it on himself. So
that's amazing. That's great. Well, yeah, like, other than David's initial play, all sort of misplayed, but like that's the whole problem with idols, and that's the challenge with any advantage. So everything is so situational. How often do you actually have the information of who's going home? Especially when it's yourself, it's so hard to discern paranoia from truth. So it's right play, right? If you're Jay and you're not playing it, like you better have a really freaking solid read, I think.
Right. All right. So just going back to talking this through. So if Jay goes out at 6, do we presume that Brett goes out at 5, or do you see a more likely person to go out of the final 5?
It seems like, it's hard to say, right? Because you hear in all these exit interviews, people with some negativity about Adam, but from the viewer's perspective, like Adam is the bigger character. I think my gut now is Brett goes out next, then Adam, and it's my gut is the Hannah, Ken, David final 3.
See, I wonder if Adam could potentially, hold on to Brett and if Hannah really wanted to play, could she turn against Ken and David at 5 and vote with Adam and Brett?
Yeah, she could, but like you said, she just wants that goat seat with David. Some of the things she said tonight were crazy. Like, oh, if David goes home, I can't have that. I like him so much, I'll miss him. Like, you're going to see him in less than a week. You're going to see him in like 3 days.
It's day 36.
Yeah, you're not going to miss him that much.
Right. You'll see him every night the next 4 days. Yeah. Like he'll be right there.
And I think that's a strength of David's, right? That he's been able to establish these bonds, and he had that great quote at Tribal Council in the second episode. That friendship matters more now in the end game than in the early or the middle game, and it's really true for his game where he's really relying on Ken and Hannah to have his back in a big way, and it's crazy that they do. It's crazy.
It is crazy. Stephen, has David lost control of this game? I know that we talk about him as well, let's talk this through, because it just seems like that people are deciding to keep him, but I'm wondering at this point in the game, does he have any agency left? Is he making any decision about what's happening?
Look, I think with any scenario, right, it's just a question of what we're seeing on television, right? David's obviously playing the game. He's doing stuff. He's reinforcing his bonds. He's making plans. He's voting with the majority every time. We're seeing the people who are choosing whether or not to vote him out. But in any season, that decision is being made with the winner, right? Like, with Jeremy, people were like, should we vote out Jeremy? Nah, let's not. Let's vote him out, But, if you see that or you don't see that, that's just a question of editing. I think David is probably playing a really solid game, and I think the evidence is the fact that he's still there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. At any point, they could have made the decision to vote him out. I thought he did a good job of not really fighting for the Brett versus Sunday thing as long as Hannah wanted to go along with it. I thought even if he wanted Brett to go out more, that was a good job of not trying to do anything that would make people have a second thought about voting him out at this point.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. It's like, yeah, sure, whatever. Like, whatever, as long as it's not me. And, again, like for David, it's great if Sunday goes home. From David's perspective, it's great if people are voting out goats. The more threats around, the more other targets there are than him. I want to give my guy Brett, by the way, a little bit some props.
Wait, since when is Brett your guy?
Well, as of tonight.
Okay, all right. Well, what's the props?
Yeah, thanks. You said this guy's a floater. He's being picked up by everybody. But tonight, you see him go to Adam out of the gate and say, listen, me and Sunday, we want to work with you. We think these guys are the threats. We really got to take him out. Kudos to Brett and Sunday for having their alliance eliminated. Like every single freaking week, their alliance goes home. They're still there. They're able to make the jump to the other people. Yeah, I don't think that's, that's not nothing.
Yeah, they've been very good at being, just going from there like the Minions in that every week they just look for a new diabolical super genius to follow. It started off, we'll go, okay, Jay, I'll go wherever you want to go. Then Chris, I'll go wherever you want to go. Then Zeke, I'll go wherever you want to go. They would have followed David if there wasn't the Zeke plan. They were going to go.
But that's a well-paced game, right? If you're someone, we saw Zeke make a move too soon and he was eliminated. We saw Will make a move too soon. He was eliminated the next episode. And if you don't have the power in the tribe, you've got to, bide your time. And that's, lesson to myself that I learned. You can't pop too soon. You gotta like
never want that, Stephen. You okay? You okay?
We're done here. We're done. I'm out.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Let's talk about Will, and I will resist the urge to transition off that. So let's talk about Will here, Stephen, and interesting run here for Will before his untimely demise in the game.
Yeah, I want to give Will some credit too. He's saying all the right stuff. I just don't think he has the maturity. I think it's really hard for a young person to play this game. Will's got all the right talking points down. All of his confessionals are really on point, right? He's like, I need to have a resume. Nobody respects me. They treat me like a kid. I need to be the one making the decisions and making other people think like they're making the decisions. Like everything he says is right. He just doesn't have the next level of to make it happen. I feel like Will in 4 years is going to be great on Survivor Wills versus Hanses. I don't know.
Wills versus Hanses. Wow.
Yeah. And then where does Willie Hance go? Who knows?
Oh, yeah.
That's the twist.
Starts on Exile Island.
Yeah, exactly. First tribe to win doesn't get him. First tribe to win gets to give him to the other tribe.
So, yeah, Will, that he really did start to believe his own hype there after a while. And I have to, give him credit for, such poise at 18 years old. I don't think I was, I wasn't able to get from one elective to another at 18 years old. So kudos to Will for at least being in a position in day 34 of Survivor Millennials versus Gen X. But it did seem as though, and maybe we're just starting to get the traditional boot edit on Will, that it was like, he's talking about like, oh, they're running the show. I'm the one who's calling the shots around here. It's my game now.
Yeah, but maybe he's just like feeling his oats a little bit, where as soon as you make a big move, you kind of want to like, chew the scenery a little bit. Just having some fun with the game and the cameras. It doesn't mean he's some egotistical lunatic who had to have his, had to get shorn. I thought he was great. We saw very little of him throughout the season. What we did see at the end, I thought he had a really astute knowledge of both his own position in the tribe, which is the hardest thing, and the game itself. He just didn't have the maturity to pull it off.
Yeah. So then following last week's vote, we ended up with, then it was David, Ken, Hannah, Adam, and Will who voted against Zeke. I mean, was it a mistake for Will to try to swing it back and get David out this week? Should he have tried to knock out the Jays and Sundays and Bretts of the world?
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard, Rob. I do think David said, if he makes a big move, the best way to follow it up is to make another big move. And I do think there's something to that, because if you just go from the bottom of one alliance to the bottom of another alliance, and it just looks like, hey, David got you, he managed to sway you. But if you then go back, then you're kind of Tonying, where it's, I'm not sure. We haven't seen a lot of people successfully bounce back and forth and then not have the jury hate them at the end. So it's I don't know. I really don't know what the best move is there. What do you think?
For Will, that he had a secret scene last week, and I'm not sure if you saw it, but he talked about he had a pendulum strategy where in the pendulum strategy, he's talking with Hannah about they sort of outline a plan where they're going to vote against Zeke this week. Then they're going to swing back and vote off David. And then the following week, they're going to swing back and vote off Jay. And it seems as though that part of the plan for Will was always going to be that Hannah was going to stick with him. Hannah does not stick with him on the vote that ultimately sends him home. And so he maybe had a miscalculation there on what was going to ultimately work.
I just wonder if the pendulum strategy ends up pissing off everybody. That's sort of what Spencer did in Cambodia. And then by the end, he's betrayed everyone, right? And obviously it's different, with every iteration of it. But I wonder if that pendulum strategy can work. I'm really a partisan for the idea of you pick your side and then you outplay the other side, and you make sure that you're the best one standing on your side. But I really think bouncing back and forth is dangerous, not just because you can get caught, but because if you do manage to get to the end, you're going to have a lot of angry jurors. And Tony Vlachos notwithstanding, who knows how Tony would have fared had he not been up against Wu.
But as somebody who, has swung from a side to a side,
right,
I do think that there is a little bit of a beauty in getting to say to that jury, hey, I worked with you guys on some votes. I worked with you guys on some votes. We had a good thing. You had a relationship with everybody. It didn't always end well, but you at least were, as opposed to, hey, these are my people versus those people. The people on the other side might be more hard pressed to ever vote for somebody who wasn't on their side.
I don't really know how Survivor was played when dinosaurs roamed the earth.
Oh, come on. Stop it.
I do think, though, that people's votes are motivated by bitterness more than they're motivated by magnanimity. And I think that, you're a good case, though. You are the good counter argument because, from what everyone said and certainly what we saw, it looked like you would have won had you made it to the end. So you were really, really close to winning $1 million. But
not as close as you. You were seemingly much closer. You were right there. Only but what, 4 votes away that you could have been a millionaire.
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, I can't recover. Yeah. I just wonder if people are going to be more bitter than they are going to reward the person who made all the big moves. It's hard. I mean, and it's probably so individual, and it's probably based too on who they're with. If Will shows up at the end with Hannah on Sunday, maybe he wins, but then if he shows up at the end with Jay and David, then the bitter jury votes him out. And, it's like Spencer. If Spencer hadn't been with Jeremy, maybe he would have won.
Yeah, were you surprised that everybody got together and voted out Will? Basically, both sides, Brett and Sunday included, ended up being the votes against Will. Only Jay and Will voted together.
I want to say that I predicted it. It's the common flipper. Almost always, when someone flips, both sides gang up on him. It's almost not all. It happens a lot. It happens a lot.
It can happen.
Happens a lot.
It certainly can happen. Were you surprised that Jay wasn't in on it?
Yeah, Jaden is really doing his own thing, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's not in on very much.
Yeah, I mean, he's playing the ultimate game, though. And we talked about him as, and let me finish my sentence, that he's playing the ultimate game that, gets the people at home to root for you, where that he's winning the challenges. He's doing his own thing. He's definitely, we thought he might be the villain of the season after he voted out Michaela, but Jay is just so likable. He's really, really, really likable. That scene with him and Adam was such a great scene. Yeah, right? I mean, that's the kind of thing when I'm watching it play out on the TV. I'm between Jay and Adam, and then they're both in the hammock and they're pouring their hearts out. Buff over his head. Oh my God, what a powerful gesture that was! It really was, and it's that. Those are the kinds of things you could watch. Anything else that's on TV tonight, you're not going to get another moment like that. That's as authentic as what you see on all of the contrivances of reality TV. I mean, you're not going to get a moment like that on, maybe the best of the scripted shows that you're going to see this year.
I think that's exactly right. And this is, why, truth is sometimes so much more powerful than fiction. Like, what scripted moment with two people talking about their mothers with cancer, if on a scripted show, there's a pretty good chance it's going to come off as sentimental and fake and maudlin. And this was so powerful and so sincere and so honest. It was just, I was just blown away.
And, something else that I must have missed this season, that I didn't realize that Adam hadn't told anybody about his mom. And I think I just get confused between, so much talking about it in confessional. And that, even when he told everybody with the loved ones visit, like I wasn't paying attention to the exact words that he was using. Yeah. I thought that everybody knew what he was going through. And I just, I can't imagine, that he's so upset about that. I wonder if that's something that maybe that people might have felt some distance from him in that he was dealing with this incredible hardship and wasn't letting people in on it.
I think that's probably right. I do think that's probably right. When you're going through something really emotional and other people, they're just going to see you as kind of closed off because you're not opening up. And, also he's talking about, I need to steal your loved one's visit and not giving them a reason, they're going to feel defensive about that. Like, screw you. Like, that's my freaking loved one's visit. And I think maybe that actually Zeke may have said something similar to that in one of his interviews. And then, he's got this huge secret, which, understandably that he doesn't want to share it with people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Incredible moment. I think I was just rooting that they would work together after that. They end up on, different sides of the vote after that. And boy, I mean, that's like the alliance that I'm pulling for.
I know, right? Me too.
Especially like, I hate you. No, I hate you. Come on. Yeah.
That would be great. And Jay's pulling for it. Jay's like, wouldn't it be great if we went to the end together? Like, It'd be
really great for Jay. It would be great for Jay.
yeah. Jay's pulling for that with anybody. Wouldn't it be great if we went to the end together?
Yeah. All right. Let's start to get into some of the questions. Hashtag RHAP here. Stephen, also 1 week from tonight is going to be our Survivor finale with the final six.
Live from Providence.
Well, Stephen, you'll be live from Providence, and I will be at the finale once again this season. So Stephen and I will not be together for the show.
You'll be hobnobbing with the glitterati while I'm doing the heavy lifting.
Yeah. So Stephen will be live, TBD on who is going to be with Stephen at this hour. And then I will have my interviews with the final six from the red carpet at the finale, and then we'll get that up as soon as possible for you guys.
Should we open the co-host up to anyone from Australia who likes the show?
You can open it up to anybody you want, Stephen.
Worked before.
It's your night. If you want to be the bachelor of podcasting and then select, although sometimes that doesn't go as smoothly as you hope. All right. Let's get our questions kicked off here tonight. What about Byron Hussey? What does he have to say?
Byron Hussey has to say, Zeke had an alliance and David has a coalition. Where is that on the voting block trust cluster spectrum? No, David is very clear that he has voting blocks.
He did. David said we have a voting block of 4. He did not even mention a trust cluster.
Mentioned no clusters, no coalitions. He said voting block. So the master of this game is using the correct strategy.
Yes. Coalition is not, it's same as the alliance, right?
Yeah.
That was what they say on the mole, Stephen, a coalition.
It's just another vague term for a group of people.
Okay. This is from Ian, who says, was the first half of tonight's episode the most boring 25 minutes in Survivor history? Absolutely not. No way. No, not even close.
God, there's been some boring episodes.
Not even in the top 25 most boring 25 minutes.
Someone doesn't remember the recap episodes. The recap episodes were the most boring.
Oh, forget recap episodes. But I mean, that there are long stretches. Look, as somebody who has rewatched 32 seasons of Survivor,
you had to watch season 22 twice. That sounds horrible.
Yeah. Oh, believe me. Yeah. Between some of the Rice Wars, between some of the these middle era seasons, Tocantins notwithstanding. Not even close. Not even close. But 25 minutes and we're at a tribal council. Stop.
Yeah, 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 and a great challenge. That was such a fun challenge.
The first one?
Yeah,
yeah. Oh, by the way,
I really like both challenges this episode. I thought they were just fun.
Original.
What? They were totally original. Yeah. And they're like new stuff. I loved the split attention challenge.
Yeah, that was fun. Stephen, I have some experience with that puzzle.
Oh, really?
Yes. When I was at the EW Pop Fest, Stephen, that I had to assemble basically a version of that puzzle. Trickier than you would think, because sometimes it's like there's like only text in certain parts, and there are areas where there's like big gaps. And as I was trying to assemble that puzzle against Abby Maria, it was very. We didn't even have a Plinko ball.
Challenge Beast, Abby Maria.
Challenge Beast, Abby Maria. So me, a writer from the great indoors, and a little girl just completely trounced Abby Maria and her team.
Oh, you guys won?
Yes, we won.
Oh, that's nice. That's nice.
Yes. Okay. All right. Stephen, what about Matt Sig?
Matt Sig wants to know, did anyone bet on Hannah being the last woman standing?
Now, you know what? I have to say, way back when in the pre-merge, when people were like, oh, well, there's like, 5 women are gone and only 1 man. And I said, look, it's going to even out. Stop it. It always happens like this. Remember San Juan del Sur? We talked about, there's only even out. No, it is not. I'm mea culpa. I was
okay.
dead wrong about this. Dead wrong about this. It'll be interesting to see if Hannah ends up getting voted out next, which is almost no scenario where she does. We have not had an all men final. I'm trying to think of what is the most all men that we've had at any point in the game. Certainly, we have had male final 2s. I'm trying to think if we've had all male final 3s. I guess Survivor Nicaragua was an all male final 3. I don't think we've ever had the all-male Final 4.
Yeah, I can't think of that either.
Yeah. Okay. We'll see. We have a chance for an all-male Final 5 and 4.
Yeah.
So his story could be made, Stephen.
Yeah. I don't think so. I think Hannah's got her goat seat. Hashtag.
Okay. I agree. Yeah. All right. Ariel, there were such good sports on the way out. Do you think it's more fun when they are mad and nasty, or it doesn't matter to you? Do you have a thought on this, Stephen?
I like a little bit of sportsmanship. I like a little bit of good luck, guys. I mean, obviously, who doesn't love the crazy, Michaela's exit, right? Like, how do you beat that? So why try? Just be a good sport or do the stare down. You really gotta, but next, you really gotta escalate if you're gonna be mean spirited.
I would say in a perfect world, I like some salt there on the way out, but then, in the perfect world, they're over it by the time they at the exit interview. Right.
But let's be honest, they'll never be over it in their entire lives.
Probably. They put on a good face when they talk to the press.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I kind of feel like, I like
talking about it, decades later, we're talking about our losses. So
sure.
These people are, these people are just weeks away.
Okay. What about Allie?
Allie wants to know, is this the most likable cast in a long time? I find myself alternately rooting for everyone left.
Well, I don't know if we can, judge, this group of 20 people versus another group of 20 people. But let's just talk about this final 6, Stephen.
It's great.
Incredible final 6.
I love it.
If you want, especially if you want to compare, the group of people going into a finale versus almost any other season, Stephen.
How about season 30, Worlds Apart? How did you compare those two final 6s?
Boy, it's tough. Yeah. But getting back to this final 6, I mean, you have probably, all of the people that you down the stretch, maybe save for Zeke that you talked about as like, okay, your winner edit candidates. You've got a lot of people that got a lot of airtime all season long. You certainly could imagine a scenario for David, for Adam, for Ken, for Jay. You got those heavy hitters. Brett, I feel like less so. Hannah, I think if you squint hard enough, I think that maybe you could see a scenario where she could
see Hannah winning over Brett.
She's gotten a lot of airtime. I'll say that.
Yeah, but so did, I don't know, Abby Maria.
Yeah, she never made it to a finale though.
Yeah, she got as close as Hannah as final 6.
Don't compare Hannah to Abby Maria.
I'm just saying airtime doesn't mean like winning shot.
Look, I'm saying like that for Hannah, we're criticizing her game, but if you want to take a look at, if we're just talking about her edit, like I think that you could certainly argue a case that we don't see it how it could happen logically, but I think that certainly that she has had her share of moments this season. She's the number 14
for anything.
Stephen, that TV Guide recently ranked Hannah as the number 14 TV character of 2016.
I really like Hannah as a TV character. I think she's a really fun TV character.
Yes. That was it. There's all you have to say about that?
Yeah, I support that. I believe that, number 14. Andy Pfeiffer wants to know, why did Adam's idol play get forgotten in favor of Will's flip? Did Adam's idol end up having no impact, even psychologically?
Well, how do you think that was perceived? It did not have an impact in terms of the counting of the votes because that there were not enough votes to send Hannah home that night. But what about within the tribe? I mean, Will painted it at tribal council like it was a negative.
Yeah, that was interesting. I mean, I'm sure Hannah appreciated it, right?
She never mentioned it. She talked about, boy, there's so many people that I owe in this game. Boy, I owe David. I owe Ken. I owe Will that he flipped last week. Is there anybody else? No, I don't think so. Yeah, she didn't mention it. Yeah,
you're right. A bunch of ingrates.
So I don't know. I don't know what impact it had. I mean, that's a good question to ask in the exit interviews and see what Will and Sunday have to say. Okay, John Densford wants to know, how good of a player would Jay have to have been to not play his idol? Riley Rage wants to ignore in hindsight any reason Jay shouldn't have played his idol. I mean, what does it come down to, Stephen, in terms of these idol plays and when people are going to use them or not? I mean, what is Jay looking to hear or see at that tribal council? Is he just going off of what he heard from Adam during the day?
At the tribal council, if the conversation centers around you, there's a chance you're going home. If nobody's talking about you, you're probably not going home. And I think you really just have to go for that sort of like buzz in the air. Like, do I feel it or do I not feel it? I mean, I think the fact that Jay didn't play his idol at that previous tribal council was amazing. And now people are talking about it. They're down to the final 7. Everyone's getting some conversation time. It would have been a really tough call. He really would have had to, roll the dice on that one.
What I would love to know from Adam is, at the point that he had the conversation with Jay in the hammock of, you better play your idol tonight.
Yeah.
Was it a truthful statement of, hey, buddy, I'm telling you, play your idol tonight? Or was it shades of Amanda Kimmel and Parvati?
Oh, that was totally Amanda.
Okay. Well, then, if we give Parvati so much credit for being able to read through that, then I feel like then we have to give Jay a slap on the wrist for not being able to see through the bluff.
Well, but not necessarily. You can just say like, most people couldn't do it, and Parvati's got amazing reads on people, so she could.
Yeah.
I think I'm all about like strategy for the normal human being. You don't compare a normal person's strategy to what Tony does. You don't compare a normal person's strategy to Parvati's reads on people. Also, like, to be fair to Adam, he was no Amanda Kimmel about it.
Well, and then in terms of Adam, I'm also asking, did the plan change after he talked to Jay?
Right. That's
was his plan to, we got to put the votes on Jay. He said throughout the worst thing that could happen is if Jay is still here tomorrow and he hasn't played his idol. And then he came up with plans to put the votes on him. And then ultimately he ends up getting sucked into the plan to vote out Sunday.
That Sunday plan is just terrible. You agree, right? I mean, I just can't get over it. Like, what do they do? The one of the challenges of Survivor is you have a limited number of votes to vote out the people who you need to get rid of so you can win the game. And they got 4 votes left here, They're voting out Sunday. What are they doing?
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, I just don't know who necessarily, other than Adam or even Jay. I don't know who I'm necessarily like. Hannah, I just think that she is trying to get to that final 3. I don't think that she has the agency to put herself in a position to win.
I want more from Hannah.
Well, I'm sorry, Stephen.
I want her to play the game, not just the. But again, like, there is voting out a go is not a terrible strategy from certain players' perspectives. It just is from Hannah's perspective.
This is why she's not ahead of Cersei Lannister in TV Guide's rankings. Cersei would have. Look, she's thinking big picture.
13? Is Cersei 13?
I don't know what the rankings are. Kyle Pedro says voting out the GOAT, an underappreciated strategy. A GOAT at the end means one less spot for you.
That's
Steven,
what I mean.
you're not appreciating the voting out the GOAT.
No, I mean, we're talking about it here, right? You know, I do think it's not a bad strategy for a certain type of player to get rid of the GOAT. You know, if you're a David, or if you're a Ken, if you're a Jay, if you're an Adam, even, you know, there's some logic to voting out the GOAT. It really doesn't make sense for Brett or for Hannah. Brett, because, you know, Sunday's an ally. And you know, probably doesn't, and
here's why I think it was particularly bad for Hannah. It's like that nobody on her side was saying like, let's take Sunday to the end. I mean, I guess unless she's saying that she's worried about Adam flipping and going on, and maybe it was like a move to keep Adam in lockstep. If she's looking at Adam as her number one, then
we actually talked about. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, you know, I could see it from that perspective. If she feels like, it depends who she wants to go to the end with. If she wants to go to the end with Adam, I can understand why she's concerned that Adam could be going off with Brett and Sunday, because we definitely did see that happening in the episode. I just don't know what her final plan is.
Right. Well, so, I mean, we, you know, I do think that's a thing where you've got your kind of locked in group. You're saying this is the three I want to be at the finale with. And you're scared that the longer the GOAT is in the game, the more compelling, you know, the more tempting it is for someone to flip to her and kind of screw over your plans and your alliance's plans. And we talked about that a lot in Cambodia with Abby. It was, you know, do we, you know, at what point do you get rid of that person and remove that possibility for someone to sort of, it's so tempting, right? And the closer you get to the $1 million, the more tempting it is. The thing for me with Hannah is that she had an option with Brett and Sunday. And I know, you know, it's not Survivor Chess. She had, you know, Brett and Sunday came to Adam and said to them, you know, we want to go with you guys. So she has a final four possibility with Hannah, Adam, Brett, and Sunday. And to me, like, that seems like Hannah's ideal final four, because at 4, she's not going to be the biggest threat. Well, I don't know. Maybe Brett will.
That's interesting. So this is basically doing the same thing, but now we're not including Jay in the plan. If we got Jay to flush his idol, and then if Hannah flips to Adam, Adam, Brett, Sunday votes out David, then you could vote out Ken. You could vote out Jay next after he plays his idol.
Right.
I like that a lot more. I don't know if that was on the table.
Well, I mean, that's a good start of this episode. You know, Brett comes to Adam and says, you know, we want to be with you. And Adam says, you know, I've got this opportunity to be me, Will, Hannah, Brett, and Sunday at the final 5. Great proposal for those guys, and the fact that they don't do it is nuts. You know, even voting out Will, I think, was a really big mistake instead of David. I mean, they claimed that Will was a threat to win the game. Obviously, it's very different being on this side of the screen from that side of the screen. I still think it's a really big mistake to go back on that plan, which seemed like a really great option for Adam and Hannah.
Yeah, Stephen, I think you cracked the case here tonight. Great job. That's why you're the knowingest know-it-all, I think.
We haven't put that on the line at all this season. We haven't had any bets. Yeah. Anything we can do? Winner pick?
Boy. No, let's come up with something.
What, a not winner pick?
Let's keep going. Darren says, do you think Adam is digging his own grave by going after David tonight? People don't like it when we do winner picks, Steven.
Oh, people. Oh, really? Why?
I think so. Gets to too much edit talk.
Oh gosh. You know, yeah, I don't know. I don't think so. I think Adam was digging his grave by not successfully voting out David tonight, not for targeting him.
Yeah. No, you really turned me on to this idea, Steven. I think that was the move.
Yeah. Yeah.
The best case scenario for everybody involved.
For all 4 or /5 of them.
Adam seems to not have a relationship with David.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He seems to be more connected to well, he had a thing with Jay, right? I'm sorry, Ken from their previous tribe.
Right, but almost no relationship with David from what we've seen.
Yeah. I mean, you know, I'm sure they're friends with each other.
Sure, yeah.
But yeah. But I agree. I think for all 5 of those people, that is the right decision. And it is so rare to find an alliance where everyone is benefiting instead of the actual thing that they're doing.
Yeah. Okay. This is from Miko. Was it a good move for Adam to tell Jay to play his? Well, yeah, definitely. I mean, he flushed the idol.
Yeah, it was the right move. He flushed the idol.
Okay.
All
right, Steve, let's do one more question.
Oh, come on. Does the fishy go to Hannah for getting them to vote Sunday, or Adam for getting Jay to play his idol? Tom, the fishy does not go to Hannah. The rotten fishy goes to Hannah for getting them to vote for Sunday. The fishy goes to David.
Fishy wife, just for surviving both votes?
Yeah, the fact that he's built up enough trust and enough alliances. And I think that I really think this is like the counter side. Every time we see a winner controlling the game, the counter side to that is his allies or her allies saying, should we vote him or her out? And then coming to the idea, no, we shouldn't. The winner is laying the groundwork so that they make the call not to vote them out.
Yeah. All right. Well, Stephen, great job here tonight. I think one of the best know-it-alls of the season, I think.
Oh, wow. It was a big episode. It was a fun one.
Big episode.
One more question. This is a good question.
Okay.
Robbie Baker wants to know, isn't it common knowledge that when your enemy says play your idol, you shouldn't play your idol? I guess it's similar to what we talked about.
Yeah. But I mean, but at some point, he's got to play that idol. He dodged a bullet, 3 different times, I think, this season, where he should have played his idol and didn't have to.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, you could only play it until Final 5. So that basically that there's Final 6 and Final 5. So basically, that he did not have immunity, that you got to figure there's at least like a 35% chance he's going to have that necklace, each time he goes back out. Maybe he gets immunity the next 2 times, and maybe this was the only time he was going to be vulnerable. So we'll see how it plays out.
You think he's going to Fabio?
I do not. I don't feel like that Jay's going to be able to run the table. I think it's too much to ask.
I do too.
I really like Jay, though. I do hope that we get to see him play again.
Yeah, Jay's great. He's one of my favorites. This is a really great cast. It really is it's a likable, rootable cast. Whoever asked that question, I completely agree with that.
But I mean, this is way in the future, and maybe this is too hot of a take for now. I feel like that Jay is the kind of player that everybody likes the first time around. I think that then he comes back, and I feel like if he's not in the same underdog position, then he could be the kind of person that is a villain the second time, and people don't love him the second time around.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll see. All right, so Stephen, just a couple other quick things. I told you what's coming up on Thursday. We know David is getting the fishy. This is the last 24 hours. If we have a RHAP mug, Stephen, a lot of people have been asking us for Rob as a Podcast mugs. You could check those out in our podcast store. You could either go to robhasawebsite.com/store or robhasawebsite.com/RHAP mugs. Those are on sale through Thursday. Let me also do a shout out, Stephen, to one of our listeners, Sandy Kane. Her daughter, Mallory, had emailed me last week, and I meant to say it on last week's Know-It-Alls, and I just lost track of the time. But she is one of our viewers, and she is undergoing chemotherapy, and I told Mallory that I would give her a shout-out on the show. So I just wanted to mention that we just wanted to say, we're thinking of her, and thanks for watching us. We always appreciate that.
Thinking of you, Sandy.
Yes. And Stephen, we have a live Big Brother podcast coming up right after this at 10:30 Eastern here on Rob as a Website.
Can't wait.
Yes, Stephen, I know you've been on pins and needles waiting for another podcast about Big Brother Over the Top.
Is that still on?
No, it's over,
okay.
But there's still very controversial end to the season. And the LFC, all 4 members of the LFC will be united for the first time tonight on a podcast.
That could be really explosive.
Yes. All right. So that's coming up here tonight live at 10:30 Eastern. So stay tuned. We're going to throw it to that right after this. All right, Stephen. So this is going to be the last time that we're on together here in Millennials versus Gen X.
I'm so sad. It's been a great season, Rob. Great podcasting with you. If you want to, anytime, just hit me up. If you want to, finale, if you want to step into the finale. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, we've got plenty of finale coverage on the way. Steven will be live after the episode. I will have red carpet interviews. And then for the Survivor Know-It-Alls fans, or for the Know-It-Alls fans in general, we have something else special coming your way here. We'll have an announcement soon in the next week or so. How about that,
yeah,
Steven?
yeah, it's going to be fun.
Be fun. All right. Thanks so much to Scott St. Pierre behind the scenes. Steve, you have a hashtag?
What do you think? I mean, I like goat seat, but what do you think?
Yeah, that's good. I saw goading blocks was somebody.
We didn't even say it. That's really funny.
That's from the chat room. I got to give that Enteas X23 is saying it in the chat room. I'm not sure if they created
blocks as a tribute to Enteas.
Okay, goading blocks it is. All right. Have a great night, everybody. Take care.